many hours is 30 minutes? We can write down how many hours equals 30 minutes. 30 minutes is actually 30 minutes over 1. We need a conversion factor that has minutes at the bottom and hours at the top so that the given unit, minutes, will cancel out and we'll be left with the required unit, hours. So we need to ask ourselves, how many minutes is how many hours? We know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So our conversion equation says 30 minutes times 1 hour divided by 60 minutes. The minutes cancel. 30 goes into 30 once. 30 goes into 60 twice. So our answer is 1 hour over 2. In other words, a half an hour, 0.5 hours. And this is obvious because you know that 30 minutes is half an hour. Now let's say you need to convert 53,9 centimeters to millimeters. You know that 1 centimeter is the same thing as 10 millimeters. Which of those two conversion factors will be helpful here? And why do you say so? Pause the movie while you answer that. Our question is, how many millimeters is 53,9 centimeters? So our conversion factor needs to have centimeters at the bottom to cancel out the given unit and millimeters at the top to be left with the required unit. 1 centimeter is the same thing as 10 millimeters. So our equation says 53,9 times 10 millimeters, which is 539 millimeters. 53,9 centimeters is the same thing as 539 millimeters, but actually we weren't even asked to find the answer to this. We were just asked which of these two conversion factors will be helpful in getting the answer. The correct answer is 10 millimeters over 1 centimeter. Why? Because it has the required unit at the top and the given unit at the bottom, so that the given units will cancel away and the required unit will remain. Here are some more equivalent amounts which you'll find useful in creating your own conversion factors. 1 gigabyte is 1 times 10 to the power 9 bytes. 1 megabyte is 1 times 10 to the power 6 bytes. 1 kilo of anything is 10 to the power 3. 1 kilobyte, 10 to the power 3 bytes. 1 kilometer, 10 to the power 3 meters. Deci means 10 to the power minus 1. Centi, 10 to the power minus 2. Milli, 10 to the power minus 3. Micro, 10 to the power minus 6. And nano, 10 to the power minus 9. Answer this question while you pause the movie. You have a 2 gig memory stick. How many bytes and how many megabytes? First question, how many bytes is the same thing as 2 gigabytes? Our conversion factor must have gigabytes at the bottom to cancel off the given unit and bytes at the top to be left with the required unit. We know that 1 gigabyte is the same as 10 to the power 9 bytes. If you've forgotten that, just go rewind a little bit in this movie. And so our answer is simply 2 times 10 to the power 9 bytes. Next question. How many megabytes do we have? Now we can do this in different ways. The quickest way is to use the answer from the previous question. So we're asking how many megabytes is 2 times 10 to the power 9 bytes, which is 2 gigabytes we've just seen. So we need bytes at the bottom of our conversion factor and megabytes at the top. Bytes cancel out. We know that 1 megabyte is 10 to the power 6 bytes. If you've forgotten that, rewind a little bit. So, 2 times 10 to the power 9 multiplied by megabyte divided by 10 to the power 6. What's the answer? 10 to the power 6 goes into 10 to the power 6 once. 10 to the power 6 goes into 2 times 10 to the power 9. 2 times 10 to the power 3 times. How do I know that? When you divide numbers with exponents, you can simply subtract the exponents. So I just simply went 9 minus 6. So our answer is 2 times 10 to the power 3 megabytes. In other words, 2000 megabytes. Pause the movie while you answer this one. How many nanometers equals 53,2 kilometers? Now this is going to be a lot of nanometers because you can think how far 53,2 kilometers is. I mean, that's the distance between two towns. Whereas nanometers are tiny little divisions. So they've got to be a lot of nanometers in the whole distance between two towns. Right, so we need a conversion factor which has kilometers at the bottom and nanometers at the top to cancel the given unit out and be left with the required unit. How many nanometers is how many kilometers? Well, we might not know that immediately. We might have to go through a few steps to get there. So let's think, well, what do we know? We at least know how many kilometers are equivalent to how many meters, and we know how many meters are equivalent to how many nanometers. So let's do it in those two steps. So let's start over. How many nanometers is equal to 53,2 kilometers? So let's first just try get rid of kilometers and end with meters. We know that 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters because kilo means the same thing as 1,000. So in that way we can convert from kilometers to meters. Obviously that's not the end of the story because we're asked to find out how many nanometers, not how many meters. So now we use another conversion factor. This one has meters at the bottom so we can get rid of meters and nanometers at the top so that we eventually do end up with what we were asked to find. We know that 1 nanometer is 10 to the power minus 9 meters. If you've forgotten that, you need to rewind the movie a bit. So we have 53,2 times 1,000, which is 10 to the power 3, times nanometer, divide by 10 to the power minus 9. Now, as I've already said, when you divide numbers which have exponents, you can simply subtract them. So 3 minus 9 is the same as 3 plus 9, which is 12. So our answer is 53,2 times 10 to the power 12 nanometers. If we want to write this in scientific notation, we only want to have one significant figure before the decimal comma, and so we need to multiply by 10 to the power 13 rather than 10 to the power 12. So the answer is 5,32 times 10 to the power 13. Of course, you could have just done this all on your calculator, and then perhaps it would have been even easier to find this answer. So notice that you can use a number of conversion factors. You don't only have to use one. You can use as many steps as you like to get to the answer. Let's see if you've understood what you learned in this lesson by answering these questions. When you're done, press play again on the movie and look at the answers.